What's up, guys? We're back with a full slate of NBA action here on Saturday, March 29th. We're going to break down every NBA game tonight and take a look at both of the college basketball games on the slate. We're going to be looking at bets on the side and over-under, and make sure you're checking that pinned comment throughout the day to see if there are any changes as injury news and player availability is confirmed. Yesterday, not a great day out there, guys. Still trying to figure things out in the early goings of the MLB season. Also took a horrendous bad beat. We had Michigan State minus 3.5. They were up 6 as time expired, but we saw that late three-pointer there just casually rattle in after going just straight off the brick. So yeah, unfortunately, we lose there by the hook. We had the over in that Michigan-Auburn game. That didn't quite come through. The teams could not throw it in the ocean in the early goings. We had the Red Sox minus 115, and despite having the same number of hits, they end up taking a sizable loss there, but a day saver there at the end of the day. We had the Padres minus 125, and they come through with a comfortable win. So obviously 1-3, another pretty rough day out there. So we're going to try and get back on track here, guys. Hit that like button if we can get this video to 1,000 likes. We're giving away a Stump the Spread hoodie to one random commenter, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're less than 50 subscribers away from that 50K mark, and we'll be giving away a free hoodie for that, hopefully on this video. So get in there in the comments so you can get in that giveaway, and subscribe to the channel if you're new, so you have a chance to win. If you're a huge fan of what we're doing here every single day, sign up for a channel membership by clicking the little join button right below the video. Channel members get exclusive early access to all of my videos and get their names up on screen in every single video, just like right now. But more importantly, you get access to our monthly members only giveaways. We are giving away a Stump the Spread hoodie to one random channel member in early April. If we get to 80 channel members, we'll do 2 giveaways next month. And guys, we are rolling for a new giveaway in tomorrow's video. So definitely get in there. If you want to become a channel member, you're going to have a chance to win a hoodie tomorrow, because we weren't able to get into contact with the guy who won the hoodie for this month. All of our videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. Click the link in the description to go over there and see the top confidence picks from our entire team of experienced cappers. Right now, our premium members are getting daily college basketball, NBA, NHL, and UFC picks, and Major League Baseball, guys, is going strong here right out of the gate. At StumpTheSpread.com, you'll have access to our exclusive free picks, free to use bet size calculators, and our premium top confidence picks, which might not always match what you see here in the video. Also, guys, you need to get over there and sign up for our free email newsletter, which will give you free picks straight to your inbox every day and updates on our results. Just make sure to check your spam folder. Comment below with any bets you're looking at today or any other feedback you have for me, and I will personally respond. As always, our favorite picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the night. We've got the Sacramento Kings going on the road to take on the Orlando Magic. Keep in mind, guys, this is kind of an afternoon game. It's a 4 p.m. tip here Central Standard Time. The Kings come into this game fresh off a much-needed 128-107 win there over the Portland Trail Blazers. Sacramento not necessarily having the smoothest sailing here, and this is a team that needs to be winning games. They're currently in the 9 seed, but they're only 3-7 over their last 10. They are only, a half game up on the Dallas Mavericks, who are in the 10 seed right now, 1 game up on the Phoenix Suns. So we'll see what the Kings can get done in this one. Obviously, a nice night out there from Zach LaVine against Portland. He went 13 of 18 from the field, so he was absolutely hooping. Not necessarily an insane shooting night, but they did a very good job on the boards there, and the Kings have to feel, I would say, at least decent about how that one went, but they have been so all over the place. Sabonis playing really, really well. A nice night from DeMar DeRozan. He was getting to the free throw line, but when they play anybody very good, it's been kind of a different story for Sacramento. So we'll see how things go for them. They come into this game in terms of their health looking pretty good. Really no major injury concerns for them in this game, which is a big, big deal down the stretch in, the long, long NBA season. So they're healthy, going on the road here to take on the Orlando Magic, who are 35-39 on the year, fresh off a tough loss against the Mavericks, and that can't be what the Magic are wanting to see, guys. I mean, right now they are clinging to that 8 seed, trying to move up as high as the 7 seed, but this is a team that had much higher aspirations than that at different points of the season. Injuries really derailed things for them in that game against the Mavs. I mean, obviously coming up on the short end of a 101-92 game, and that was a home game there for the Magic. Like, that probably feels pretty bad. They didn't have, any great answers for Anthony Davis, who didn't have a monster night, but he did still have 7 boards, 2 assists, and 15 points. Despite only playing 29 minutes, they really couldn't do too much against the bench either. Jaden Hardy had a nice night, 14 points there from Brandon Williams coming off the bench, and Dallas managed to shoot 50% from the three-point line against a team that's supposed to be so good defensively. It was once again a Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner show. Nobody else can really play offense out there for the Orlando Magic, and Franz Wagner, guys, did not shoot the ball well. 0 of 5 from 3, only 8 of 21 from the field in general. So they got to find some more offense for these guys in the offseason. We'll see how that search goes there for the Magic, but they come into this game in terms of their health looking okay. Cole Anthony still remains sidelined, so that's not great, but I also don't think it's a huge deal. He's officially doubtful careful for this game with that ongoing toe issue. So looking at the numbers for this one, the Magic are getting a point here at home. We've got a total of 218.5. Sacramento 16-18-1 against spread on the road, 16-17-2 against spread after a win. Orlando 18-18-1 against spread at home, 16-21-1 against spread after a loss. Guys, I'm going to be leaning towards the Sacramento Kings here on the road. I think this is a decent spot for them. Obviously, it's kind of a brutal travel situation, but the Kings are a much better offensive team overall than the Orlando Magic. It's just a fact of life at this point. Sacramento's got a bunch of dudes that can score the ball. Orlando has two. If either one of them have a bad night, they cannot win a game. And Orlando has to play good enough defense to win games too, and that's a pretty big ask. I mean, their last time out, guys, they gave up a grand total of 101 points, and they lost. Like, that's going to happen pretty often when they give up over 100 points. That's just the way it is. So give me the Sacramento Kings in this one. I think it's a pretty good spot. Next up, guys, we got a Brooklyn Nets team going on the road to take on the Washington Wizards. The Nets let us down pretty aggressively there against the Clippers. Thought they could keep things competitive, maybe even to single digits, but they ended up getting blown out by 32. So thanks a lot, guys. They gave up 31 points to Kawhi, who has been playing amazing, but it was a really bad night out there for the Nets. They couldn't shoot the ball from distance. They did a decent job on the boards. I will give them credit for that, but yeah, their starting lineup just nobody made more. Well, I guess Keon Johnson did make 3 threes in the game, but other than that, it was terrible. Every starter, like Zaire Williams was a minus 32, a minus 28 there from Johnson. Yeah, D'Angelo Russell, just a nightmare out there. The dude is god awful. I don't know what his plan is his career, but it's not looking good right now. So the Nets looking horrible in that one, absolutely god awful. But they do get to go up against a terrible opponent here. Brooklyn, obviously not a team with anything to play for, definitely tanking things out at the end of the season. It appears they're pretty much going to play everybody. Their starting lineup is intact for this game. We do see Clowney probably going to be out. Day'Ron Sharpe also sidelined, but other than that, they should be healthy and ready to go. But what can we really expect from a Brooklyn Nets team that is, not necessarily seeking to win games at this point? We'll have to see, but they're going up against one of the kings of tanking, the Washington Wizards, who are fresh off a 162-109 loss there to the Pacers. They're 16-57 on the season. They are pretty aggressively not trying right now, and I'm seeing stuff out there like, oh, they could, Washington could really turn things around next season. The trades that they've made and the guys they have on their roster, like, oh my God, they could be good. Like, I'm gonna need to see it before I believe it. I mean, yeah, Chris Middleton playing 14 minutes. 8 points, cool. I don't think that's exactly going to be a cornerstone. Jordan Poole, he's putting up decent numbers for sure, but they're limiting his minutes very aggressively here as they try and lose games. I just don't have a lot of positive things to say about this team or this franchise right now. We'll see if that whole turnaround that's being talked about is real. I am going to really need to see it because it's been a hot minute since I've seen the Washington Wizards be even a semi-decent team. Look at the injury report, guys. We see Middleton on there. We see Keyshawn George on there. We see Marcus Smart on there. Middleton, guys, he's dealing with that knee issue. He's been ruled out for this game, so not going to be seeing him on the floor. George, he's dealing with, an ankle. He's out, and Marcus Smart, he's got an illness. He's questionable. I think the Wizards are very likely to hold him out of this game as well. So look at the numbers. We've basically got a coin flip here. Washington getting 1 point. We've got a total of 220.5. Brooklyn is playing on back-to-back nights here, so we could see the injury report change a little bit. They've actually been a very good road team. They're 23-14-1 against spread on the road, 7-6 against spread on no rest, and 26-23-1 against spread after a loss. Washington 15-20 against spread at home, 23-31-2 against spread after a loss. I don't want to do this, guys, but I think we have to go back to the Brooklyn Nets and take them at -1. I think they were just the better team. I think we're going to see lots of dudes sitting for Washington. I think Brooklyn, despite the fact they're playing on back-to-back nights, I don't think they're going to sit out everyone, or at least that's not what it's looking like right now. We don't know for sure, so I might have a hard time putting this in the pinned comment, but I think it's got a shot to end up in there. Just check back. It could get taken out if we end up seeing crazy injury news on the Nets that they're going to sit everybody in this game. But even if they do, surely they're still the better team than the Washington Wizards. Rolling right along here, guys, we're looking at the Miami Heat going on the road to take on the Philadelphia 76ers. The Heat come into this game suddenly playing some of their best ball of recent memory. They've won 3 in a row, taking down the Hornets, Warriors, and the Atlanta Hawks. A nice 10-point win there against the Atlanta Hawks. Very good stuff from the Heat. They're still only 32-41 on the year. Obviously, not looking great there in the 10 seed, but they're still close enough they could, catch the Chicago Bulls or maybe even the Orlando Magic for up to the 8 seed. But regardless, they're going to be in the play-in. They're not going to fall out of the play-in either. So kind of a weird spot for them to not have much to play for right now, but they need to get back on track. Tyler Hero back on track for sure, putting up 36 points in that win. Bam, 12. Andrew Wiggins, 16. Lots of positive plus-minus numbers there for the starters. And even for the bench, we saw Haywood Highsmith play well off the bench. Even decent minutes there from Davion Mitchell. So The Heat aren't always going to shoot 55% from three like they did in this game. They're also not always going to have an edge on the boards like they did against Atlanta. But lucky for them, they're going up against a pretty bad team here. So maybe they'll be okay. Maybe things can stay pointed in the right direction for the Heat. They come into this game in terms of, their injury report looking a little bit banged up. We do see Wiggins and Duncan Robinson on there. Alec Burks on there as well. Wiggins, guys, it sounds like he actually didn't travel with the team due to that hamstring injury. Yeah, Wiggins didn't travel with the team there. So, he's not going to be on that upcoming 3-game road trip. And a hamstring injury this late in the season, not a great look. Duncan Robinson dealing with his back issue. He didn't travel with the team, so he's going to be out. And we see Alec Burks, guys, he's listed as questionable for this game. So without Wiggins and Duncan Robinson, we're probably going to see guys like Highsmith, maybe Davion Mitchell sneak in there, maybe Kyle Anderson sneak in there a little bit more. Is that a good thing? We'll see. Jaime Jaquez Jr. should definitely get some more minutes. We'll see how things go, but I'm a little bit worried about the Heat in terms of their injury situation as they go on the road to take on the Philadelphia 76ers, who've lost their last 6 in a row. They just lost by 5 against the Wizards. That's kind of an embarrassing look, but this is a team that is tanking things out hard. Quentin Grimes seems like he's kind of off of that heater. Yabusele is still putting up solid minutes and solid production. You got to love that if you're a 76ers fan, but overall, it's looking real bleak. 14 points off the bench from Jared Butler. He's actually been giving them some solid minutes, but they shot only 30% from 3, got out-rebounded by the Wizards, and this is just not a team that's trying to win right now. Like, that is very, very obvious. Obviously, the guys like Maxey, Kelly Oubre Jr., Lonnie Walker, they're all going to be out for this game. We're seeing, a starting lineup that doesn't exactly fill you with optimism there if you're a 76ers fan, but I don't know. We'll see what they can do. They're getting 7.5 points at home. We've got a total of 218.5. Miami 12-22-1 against spread on the road, 13-18 against spread after a win. The 76ers 11-23-1 against spread at home, 14-34-1 against spread after a loss. Given those numbers, guys, we just got to take the Heat. They're playing well right now. Maybe they're on a little bit of a heater, no pun intended, and I think they could, reel off a double-digit win here against a 76ers team that is horrible. The question is, what do we expect to see from the Heat? I guess we expect to see this little run continue, but this game, guys, nowhere near the pinned comment. I don't trust the Heat at all. Rolling right along, we're looking at the Dallas Mavericks going on the road to take on the Chicago Bulls. The Mavs come into this game 36-38 on the year, so 2 games below 500, but fresh off that win against the Magic, getting Anthony Davis back has definitely been nice, and they've just been playing a little bit better recently, winning 3 out of their last 4, so all of a sudden things are kind of pointed back in the right direction for Dallas. They come into this game currently sitting in the 10 seed, so they're a full game up on the Suns, who are in the 11 seed, looking outside looking in, and they're a half game back as all of the Sacramento Kings. So we'll see what the Mavs can do here in that game against the Magic. It was nice to see Anthony Davis go out there, play 29 minutes, and be fairly productive, but really it was the bench that got the job done for the Mavs in that one. 22 points from Jaden Hardy, 14 points there from Brandon Williams. As a team, they shot 50% from 3. You're not going to see that all the time, but it was nice. Seeing Anthony Davis shoot 5 threes in this game was a little bit perturbing. Like, just because you're not on the Lakers anymore, bro, doesn't mean you should be firing up a bunch of threes. That's just not something you're good at anymore. I know you've had one good season of shooting threes. Let's not overreact. So we'll see what they can do here. Spencer Dinwiddie had a terrible game. Kai Jones only played 7 minutes, and dude seemed like they're getting a little bit sick of him, but he did have 5 boards and 4 points in those minutes. So, I mean, the dude produces when he's on the floor, but you got to learn to play in the flow of the offense, young man. So we'll see how that goes. See if they can get Caleb Martin going again. He was a plus 11 in his 17 minutes, so positive things starting to pile up here for the Dallas Mavericks for sure. They want to make the play, and it very much appears that they do. So we'll see how that goes. A kind of a crowded injury report. We see P.J. Washington, Anthony Davis, Kai Jones, Brandon Williams, and Caleb Martin all on there. Now, are all these guys going to sit? I don't think so. It sounds like P.J. Washington is questionable due to that left ankle sprain, but it sounds like there's an actual chance he could end up playing in this game and not missing his 3rd straight. He's somebody we definitely have to monitor leading up to game time. Anthony Davis, he's listed as probable. I fully expect him to play in this game, and I fully expect him to play somewhere between, somewhere around like 28, 29, maybe up to 30 minutes, but no more than that. They want to keep him healthy. Kai Jones with his hip issue is questionable for this game, and whether he plays or not isn't a huge deal to me. Brandon Williams coming off a nice game off the bench, dealing with a back issue. He's listed as probable, so I fully expect to see him out there. And Caleb Martin, also I expect to see him on the floor as well. He's marked as probable with that right hip strain. So we'll see what they can do here going up against what is suddenly one of the most exciting teams in basketball right now. They're going up against the Chicago Bulls, who are now 33-40 on the season. They are right now sitting in the 9 seed, only a game and a half back of Orlando for the 8 seed, and 2 full games back of the Atlanta Hawks for the 7 seed. Like, the Bulls have been playing great recently. They're 8-2 over their last 10. They're coming off that insane game winner there for Josh Giddey against the Lakers. What a wild ending to an NBA game. I don't know, crazy stuff, and insane to see him make that shot from half court. Cool to see, to be honest. In that game against the Lakers, obviously they had to play well to make things that close down the stretch. They didn't really have any answers there for Austin Reeves. Luka didn't have a very efficient shooting night against them, but we saw contributions from pretty much everybody there from Chicago. All 5 starters scored in double figures. Vujicic, 14 points, 8 boards, but Kobe White putting up 26 points, 9 assists. That's pretty awesome, shooting 50% from 3. Kevin Huerter also shooting 5 of 10 from 3, putting up 21. And Josh Giddey, 25 points, 11 assists, 14 rebounds. It's looking like the Bulls made a great decision, insanely good decision to pick up Josh Giddey. We also saw Zach Collins and Patrick Williams chipping in off the bench. We saw the Bulls shoot 43% from 3. That'll definitely work, and they kept they had a nice edge on the board there against the Lakers. So good stuff all over the place there for the Chicago Bulls. A team that has to be, hoping that this young core that they're assembling can do some positive stuff this season. Obviously, if they made it into the actual 8 seed or 7 seed or whatever and got to play, a real playoff series, I think that would overall be a net positive, helpful for this team, helpful for this franchise. So we'll see what they can do to make that happen. In terms of their depth chart coming into this game, in terms of their injury report, we see Lonzo Ball and Trey Jones both on there. And these are guys that have been missing games, fairly consistently. Lonzo Ball, doubtful with that wrist issue. He hasn't played since back on February 28th. Trey Jones, guys, it sounds like he's going to be reevaluated in a couple weeks still. That's a timeline that we already knew about. It's still going to be at least another week until he's even reevaluated, so we don't know when he's going to be out there on the floor again. So, looking at the numbers, guys, we see the Bulls actually favorites in this game. What a turnaround. Chicago, 2.5-point favorites. We got a total of 238 out there. Dallas, 17-19-2 against spread on the road. 15-19-1 against spread after a win. Chicago all the way to 18-17-1 against spread at home. 14-16-2 against spread after a win. Now, this is a big letdown spot for the Chicago Bulls coming off that crazy buzzer beater, but Dallas isn't very good. They're very banged up. The Bulls are playing at home here. I think that's kind of a nice bonus. Now, will they struggle against Anthony Davis? Possibly, but Anthony Davis is struggling against himself, wanting to shoot those threes and wanting to get back into shape. So, yeah, guys, I'm actually going to be slightly on the Bulls here at -2.5. I don't think we'll probably end up with this one in the pinned comment, but I do think there's reason to keep it on the radar, especially as we watch that Dallas Mavericks injury report start to develop. Next on the docket, we're looking at the Los Angeles Lakers going on the road here to take on the Memphis Grizzlies. The Lakers, obviously fresh off that heartbreaking loss there against the Bulls, and they have dropped 4 out of their last 5 games, with the only win coming by a single point there against the Pacers that LeBron tip in. Pretty crazy stuff there. At 44-29 on the year, the Lakers are falling down the standings. They're all the way down to 4th in the West. They are tied with the Memphis Grizzlies for the 4 and 5 seeds. So it'll be interesting to see how this one works out. Things are getting messy for the Lakers, who are only 4 and 6 over their last 10 games. It's not looking great. This is a very crazy, very messy Western Conference. And they are only 2 games up on the Golden State Warriors, who are in the 7th seed, and 2.5 games up on the Minnesota Timberwolves. You gotta be winning games in the West right now. Even if you're, a team, if you're anybody but the Oklahoma City Thunder, you need to be taking things very, very seriously right now. So we'll see what the Lakers can do here against the Bulls. We saw a decent, albeit not super efficient game there from Luka, putting up 25 points. LeBron, 0 of 5 from 3, 8 of 20 from the field in general. He did have 12 assists, so not a terrible night necessarily, but he was a -10. And everybody in the starting lineup there for the Lakers put up a negative plus-minus. Even Austin Reeves, who had a very nice night, 37 minutes, 30 points, 3 assists, but 7 of 7 from the free throw line, 3 of 9 from 3, and 10 of 17 from the field in general. So not a bad night from him. It was actually the bench that was putting up the positive plus-minus numbers, which is a little bit shocking, except for you're going against the Bulls. So I guess it's not that big of a shock, but nobody off the bench scored in double figures. The Bulls shot only 29, or the Lakers shot only 29% from 3. They got out-rebounded in this game. You just can't have that against a team like the Chicago Bulls. These are where your easy wins are supposed to come from if you're the Lakers. And I know the Bulls are playing better, but you're supposed to be the Lakers, guys. You got LeBron and Luka. You're supposed to figure it out. And they just could not really make it happen. So we'll see what they can do here. Looking at their injury report, we see Austin Reeves on there, which is looking like a bigger and bigger deal for this team as he continues to look as like one of their better players. He's dealing with an ankle issue. He's questionable for this game. I would be pretty shocked, if I'm going to be honest, to see him sit this game out. I think we see Austin Reeves probably suited up and play in this one, but we'll see. Obviously, it's not 100%, they are going to need him, it feels like, although they're going up against a team in a very, very odd situation, guys. The Grizzlies decided to fire head coach Taylor Jenkins here at this point in the season. Pretty wild stuff. Not something you normally see. Shams is reporting that, he had lost the locker room, and obviously this team has been abysmal against actual good teams this season, something we've talked about significantly on here. Now, I feel like it's maybe slightly unfair. You got Ja sitting out all these games and stuff like that. So, yeah, maybe it's not 100% his fault, but bro, you're 1-4 in your last 5 games, and your team hasn't beaten anybody good all season long. I don't know. Clearly, you weren't getting the most out of this squad, which is supposed to be and looks like a pretty good squad on paper. So we'll see what they can do in this one. See if they get any sort of dead cat bounce, a new coach bounce. The first game after something like that happens, things can usually get a little bit crazy. In their blowout loss at the hands of the Oklahoma City Thunder the last time out, things are getting a little bit chippy. Things are getting weird on the bench there. Jaren Jackson Jr. continues to put up very good numbers, but 9 of 21 from the field. Bro's having to kind of try and do it all there in terms of taking over the scoring load. Scottie Pippen Jr. had a nice night, put up 17 points. Nobody on the bench looked great. The rebounding numbers looked pretty atrocious, and you're going up against the Thunder, you're not usually going to look great. That's just kind of the way it is. And you were seeing Bane and Santi Aldama have, problems on the bench. I don't know. Things aren't looking great in Memphis, but maybe a new coach can turn things around. Can a new coach get Ja Morant healthy and out there on the court? We'll see how that goes. He's now, still dealing with that hamstring issue. He's questionable for this game. I think they could probably use him. He's supposed to be their best player. I think Jaren Jackson Jr. is actually their best player, but we'll see what happens here with the Grizzlies. I'm concerned about this team. It's not looking so hot at the moment. But the odds makers like Memphis. They're -2 in this game. We've got a total of 237. The Lakers 15-19-2 against spread on the road, 13-14-1 against spread after a loss. Memphis 19-17 against spread at home, 17-11 against spread after a loss. They're a pretty good team after a loss. I'm going to take the Grizzlies here. I think if those reports really are true that Taylor Jenkins had lost the locker room, I think we see them have a big game here to celebrate his departure. So go ahead and give me the Grizzlies at -2. And honestly, guys, this play has a little bit of a chance to end up in the pinned comment, although it feels a little bit sketchy to go against the Lakers coming off of a heartbreaker. Next on the docket, we're looking at the Indiana Pacers going on the road to take on the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Pacers come into this game playing great. They haven't had the toughest schedule recently, but they've won, 6 out of their last 7 or 5 out of their last 6. And at 43-30 on the year, they're sitting right now in the 4 seed. And probably a team that'd be pretty stoked to have home court in the first round. They've now got a 1.5 cushion over the Pistons. They're 8-2 over their last 10 games. Things are clicking right now for Indiana. Obviously blowing out the Wizards by almost 60. I'm not going to really celebrate too much about that, but they should have won that game against the Lakers. They handily, took down the Timberwolves a couple times during this stretch. And yeah, this team, kind of everything's coming together. We're seeing, Halliburton play well. We're seeing Siakam continue to play well. Things are pretty much all clicking for this team at the moment, and they're healthy. Also, that's a huge deal at this point in the season. Mathurin is probably going to miss this game. He is officially out due to left calf soreness. But other than that, they've got all their starters are ready to go. You got Siakam, you got Halliburton out there. Nembhard's played well. Nesmith's played well. Miles Turner's had his moments. Obi Toppin coming off the bench has had some insane moments this season. I think TJ McConnell coming off the pine is also drastically undervalued. So just a ton of stuff to like about the Pacers right now. Now they are about to be tested, and that's a pretty severe test here as they go on the road to take on the Oklahoma City Thunder, who come into this game absolutely cruising, guys. They've won 8 in a row, and this is a team that doesn't have to win any more games, really. They're 61-12. They're 13.5 games up on the Houston Rockets. They've taken care of business here, but they just continue to reel off wins. I know SGA is on his, MVP campaign, and that's a big deal, but this team, you got to make it into the playoffs healthy, and I guess that doesn't really look like a problem because they don't have to exert themselves too much to get these wins. A 21-point win over the Grizzlies their last time out felt pretty chill. SGA putting up 37 points, only 7 of those coming from the free throw line, so all the stuff about him being a free throw merchant, it feels a little bit overblown to me. Or at least sometimes it does, maybe sometimes it doesn't. Jalen Williams, staying out there, staying healthy is obviously a big deal. That's very helpful. Having Hartenstein and Chet available all the time, it makes this team really, really solid. And really the only major big guy I feel like you have to worry about if you're the Thunder is somebody like Jokic. So you're not going to be super surprised to see me not have a lot of negative things to say about the Oklahoma City Thunder right now. Obviously, one of the best teams in the NBA. In terms of their injury report, they're pretty healthy. We do see Caruso on there, Aaron Wiggins on there as well, Jalen Williams, but this team, we're not too worried about that. Caruso, questionable with that back issue. Aaron Wiggins, who's been a monster coming off the bench, dealing with that Achilles, he's out for this game. But yeah, overall, I think we can feel pretty comfortable about the overall health here of the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the odds makers sure do. They are 10.5-point favorites. We've got a total here of 239.5. The Pacers 17-21 against spread on the road, 16-25-1 against spread after a win. That's a little bit concerning. Oklahoma City, guys, 23-11-2 against spread at home, 38-19-3 against the spread after a win. I kind of feel like it's going to be a trendy pick to take the Pacers in the points here, and I could understand why people would do it, but I'm actually going to go the other way. I think the Thunder comfortably get the job done here at home. They're a great home team. SGA, like who's really going to slow down SGA there on the Pacers? Like, I don't think there's a ton of dudes that can hang with him in the entire league. I think Dort can make life very, very tough there for Halliburton, and so can SGA. And overall, like, there's just plenty of options for really any matchup that you can want to find here for the Thunder. So I think they come out, I think they get the job done here at home, and I think they do it comfortably. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Boston Celtics going on the road to take on the San Antonio Spurs. The Celtics come into this game 54-19 on the season. They're cruising now, kind of getting back on track, winning their last 7 in a row. And yeah, I don't think they're looking back, guys. They won by 30 points there at Phoenix their last time out. They just continue this road trip, which has looked very, very good. I mean, blowout win after blowout win after blowout win. Like, this team has not taken their foot off the gas at all. They just continue to reel off these wins, and it's not mattering right now. Like, it used to matter. If the Celtics were coming off a win, it was time to fade them. Well, that has not been the case here. They're improving that against the spread after a win number drastically here. I mean, in their game against the Phoenix Suns, a team desperate for wins, we saw Porzingis go off for 30 points on a very efficient shooting day. Good numbers there from Jaylen Brown. Tatum not even playing in this game, with that hurt ankle, and it did not matter. 11 points off the bench for Sam Hauser. Pritchard actually had a bad game off the bench, scoring only 7 points, but the Celtics shot 22 of 52 from the three-point line, and they did a very good job on the boards, out-rebounding Phoenix by 10. Like, this team, when healthy, still needs to be regarded as probably the best team, at least the best team in the East, if not the best team in the NBA in general. There's a reason they're the defending champions, so we'll see what they can do here, see if they can keep this roll going. This is a team that shouldn't have a ton of motivation here. I mean, they are 9-1 over their last 10, and Cleveland's 5-5 over their last 10, but it would really take a pretty big collapse there from the Cavaliers for Boston to overtake them at this point in the season. But I guess it's not impossible. We see, Boston, they come into this game with what you would expect. It does appear Tatum, going to be fine for this game. Pritchard and Al Horford are on the injury report. Pritchard dealing with, that left hip flexor tightness. He's questionable for this game, and Al Horford with his toe issue is also questionable. There's some chance they sit this game out, but against the San Antonio Spurs, maybe that's not the biggest deal. The Spurs just lost back-to-back games. They got blown out by the Pistons and then went to Cleveland and lost by 8. So not a blowout there, but also, not their best game. In general, keeping things close against the Cavaliers used to look a lot better than it looks here recently, with Cleveland, kind of coasting towards the end of the season. We'll see what the Spurs can do. We liked what we saw from Devin Vassell. Stephon Castle both played well in this game. The Spurs shot 32% from 3, which, given who they're putting out on the court, maybe isn't terrible, but they did get out rebounded in this game. And obviously San Antonio, not a team with really anything to play for here down the stretch. That being said, they do tend to keep these things kind of competitive. So we'll see what they do. Obviously, this is a team we're excited about watching next season as opposed to watching this season. But they're running their normal starting lineup out there. Obviously, no Fox, no Wembanyama. But we see Chris Paul, Stephon Castle, Vassell, Harrison Barnes, and Bismack Biyombo, which is kind of wild to see. We'll see. We'll see what goes on with this squad. In this game, they're getting a ton of points. They're getting 12.5 points. We've got a total of 229. Boston, 19-17-1 against spread on the road. 18-34-1 against spread after a win. That's a number that's been getting better, though, like I was saying. The Spurs, a 500 against spread team at home. They're 22-18 against spread after a loss. Normally, like a month ago, I would have said this is a slam it on the San Antonio Spurs in the point spot, but now with Boston playing so well, I mean, they are coming off a pretty big shooting night, but I think we probably just see them run it back here and blow out the San Antonio Spurs. Like, the Spurs don't have anybody to really stand up to the Celtics, it doesn't feel like, and I think we see Boston get a comfortable win and cover here. Now, guys, we're going to hop over to the Elite 8 games for Saturday over in the NCAA. We're looking at the first one. We've got number 3 Texas Tech taking on number 1 Florida. It's been a pretty interesting, albeit easy-looking road here to this point for Texas Tech. I mean, they faced UNC Wilmington in the first round, the 14 seed. They ended up getting the win in that one, but only by 10 points. Then they played a messy game against Drake where they didn't look great, but did eventually win by 13. So, okay, fine, but their last time out, things got really, really hairy there against number 10 Arkansas. They were down 7 at halftime, down even more at some different points, but stormed back late to eventually tie that game up, force overtime, and then eventually win by 2 points in overtime, 13-11. Pretty wild stuff in that game. Obviously, I'm in an overtime game in the NCAA tournament. It doesn't get much better than that, but Texas Tech better hope things get a lot better for them because they did not shoot the ball well at all in this game. Only 8 of 32 from 3, 41% from the field. They did have a nice edge there on the boards, so that's good. They had 3 starters score 20-plus points. That's nice. JT Toppin, a very nice night. 9 rebounds, 1 assist, 5 blocks, 20 points, 10 of 18 from the field. But yeah, Darion Williams, not an amazing shooting night. Christian Anderson did shoot the ball pretty well, but man, you're playing some guys 45 minutes, 44 minutes. Like, I know these are college kids and they can do it, but it seems a little bit tough, and they're going to have to play on a little bit short rest here. And they had a really hard time defending the three-point line there against Arkansas, and just in general defending. I mean, they gave up 30 points to John L. Davis. Like, I don't know. Texas Tech's supposed to be an amazing defensive team and an amazing rebounding team, and at some points it just doesn't look like it. The offense has been good. Also, just at times, though, they got JT Toppin, so they can always at least talk themselves into the possibility that they've got the best player on the floor, but that's not always going to be true, especially late in the tournament like this, and it might not be true here against the Florida Gators, who have had a kind of tough, I would say, not even that arguably, probably just straight up a harder path to get to the Elite Eight here. They took out Norfolk State in their opening round game, obviously as a number 1 seed, you get a cupcake matchup, but then they took down number 8 UConn, the defending champions, in a 2-point game. And then last time out, guys, they took down number 4 Maryland, 87-71, in the best game Florida has played in the tournament so far, I would say. They did a pretty good job just, scoring well as a team. 4 starters scored in double figures. 2 guys off the bench scored in double figures. They did give up 27 points there to Derek Queen, but 10 of those points came at the free throw line, so I'm not going to freak out about that too much. Florida shot the ball well from 3, making 40% of their threes and 50% of their field goal attempts in general. We saw Walter Clayton Jr. not have that great of a game, not that productive. Only 13 points, 4 assists, 1 rebound. I'm expecting a big bounce back game from him, but he's also a guy that probably won't force things and try to do too much. They crushed Maryland on the boards, winning the battle of the boards 42-20. You don't see numbers like that very often. So crazy work there from Florida in the last round, and crazy work from Florida over the course of this season in general. It's been bonkers. Walter Clayton Jr., he did roll his ankle once, so he missed a few games in there, but overall, a very good season for him. One of the best offensive teams in the nation. The Gators were 4th overall in points per game, a top 5 rebounding team, a very good defensive team. Like, it's very hard to find weaknesses here for the Florida Gators, and they probably don't feel too weak here. The odds makers don't think they feel too weak either. They're 6.5 point favorites. We've got a total here of 156.5. Looking at the trends here, Texas Tech 18-18 against spread over the course of the season, 21-14-1 to the over. Florida 27-10 against spread over the year, guys, 20-17 to the over themselves. I think the over is a very, very good play in this game. That honestly has a chance to end up in the pinned comment, but we are definitely going to be taking Florida here -6.5. I think they're the far better team. I think Texas Tech's going to be a little bit tired. I think they've had a really tough time with some pretty easy teams out there over the course of this tournament, and that's not necessarily a great look, and I think we just see Florida really just roll and take care of business in this one. Last but not least here, guys, we're looking at number 2 Alabama taking on number 1 Duke, and I guess the game of the night, but at this point in the tournament, guys, every game feels like the game of the night. The Crimson Tide had a wild one their last time out, blowing out BYU 113-88 thanks to a record-setting, 25 threes, right? Yeah, 25 made threes there for Alabama. Bonkers stuff there. They took out St. Mary's comfortably and survived a scare in the opening round against Robert Morris. So they've had a little bit of excitement on their way here to the Elite Eight. Now, will they be able to make it past Duke, one of the favorites coming into the NCAA tournament? Well, we'll have to see. I mean, obviously against BYU, they mostly won that game thanks to absolutely just shooting the lights out. Sears put up 34 points in that game. Alabama, a team that's obviously going to be more than happy to get out and run. 19 points there from Youngblood. They shot almost 50% from 3 on 51 attempts. You're not going to see that very often. The odds of them replicating that against a team like Duke seem extremely slim. They were basically even on the boards. They didn't do a great job defensively. I mean, Richie Saunders put up 25 points against them, but yeah, none of that was enough to even keep BYU in this game. So we'll see what Alabama can do here. Obviously, they're an excellent offensive team. Mark Sears, an amazing offensive player. Top scoring team in the nation this year. One of the top rebounding teams, all that kind of stuff. But now you got to take on Duke. Is that going to be an easy time? It seems unlikely to me. This is a very talented team. They want to get up and down, and they want to convince their opponents to run with them. Will Duke fall into that trap? seems kind of unlikely to me. Duke, a very well-coached team that's been cruising here through the tournament. They did let Arizona make things kind of close at the end last time out, but Duke ended up winning that game 100-93. They destroyed Baylor. They destroyed Mount St. Mary's. They've kind of cruised on their way here, and this Blue Devils team, 34-3 on the year. Cooper Flagg looking fully healthy. Bro bounced back from that ankle really, really fast to put up a 30-piece there against Arizona. So crazy stuff there. Loving what we're seeing from Cooper Flagg. Loving what we're seeing from Duke in general. They shot the lights out in their last game as well, shooting 11 of 19 from 3. They did a good job on the boards. Tons of big contributions. 4 out of 5 starters scored in double figures. Flagg putting up 30. Yeah, just crazy, crazy stuff out there. Duke didn't need their bench to do much, and they didn't, but Duke, guys, is looking like a pretty scary team. And over the course of the season, they've been amazing. Now, they haven't played the toughest competition. This is probably going to be the toughest team they've faced this season overall, I would have to guess. But yeah, they've been at the top of the charts all year long. Now, they're 6.5-point favorites in this game. We've got a total of 174. Alabama, 21-15 against the spread, 20-15-1 to the over. Duke, 24-13 against the spread, 20-17 to the over. Do I want to take over 174 in this game? To be honest, guys, I don't think it's awful. My concern, though, is Duke managing to, slow the game down and play at a more reasonable tempo. So the over's not going in the pinned comment, but you might find Duke minus 6.5 there in the pinned comment because I think we're going to see a big down shooting night from the Alabama Crimson Tide. And if Duke doesn't have a great night shooting the ball from 3, they can rely on scoring in other ways. Can Alabama score in other ways against Duke? Is Duke going to let Alabama get out and run the way they're going to want to? There's a chance that Duke can even run with Alabama if they need to. Now, probably not, and they probably shouldn't let that happen, but I borderline think that they could. So regardless, guys, I think this is a pretty reasonable spot to take Duke minus 6.5. All the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Sign up for a channel membership. We're going to be giving away a hoodie tomorrow and a hoodie in April, at least one. And I love to get more members on the channel. Really helps keep me motivated and fired up to keep making these videos every day. Don't worry, all of you baseball fans. Baseball is going to be coming back very, very soon. We just want a little bit more of a sample size to build up so we can see what direction these teams and these pitchers specifically are headed in. And I appreciate everybody watching these videos, guys. Get over to stumpthespread.com, get on that free email list, check out our premium picks, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.